No, because it'd be one thing if it was just him, right? It is the easy thing to do. He's the most, him and the play caller are the two most visible things. So when things aren't good, it's easy to blame them, right? It's easy to blame the people who are most visible to the camera. But it's important to keep the main thing, watch the tape, look at the breakdowns, whether it was on the offensive line, at an execution standpoint, play call standpoint. There's a bunch of different reasons, and obviously they also get paid, so they did a lot of really good things too. But if it was just him, it would be something that would be worth discussing. But this is a collective issue that we all need to get on the same page with. It's lazy to just put it all on him. I think, like I said, it was collective all the way across the board.
And that's fine. I don't disagree with that. Now, there were moments where Zach Wilson maybe could have accelerated the clock in his head, gotten rid of the ball before someone's hand got on it and knocked it away, forcing a fumble or preventing a pass from being completed. But, Chris, here's something I said yesterday when Miles Simmons and I were talking about this. There's all this discussion about when Aaron Rodgers might come back. Why would he come back and play behind that line?
That's right.
Why would you put yourself through full recovery from an Achilles tendon tear, regardless of whether it was a complete tear, a partial tear, whatever? He's coming back from a serious injury. And you're putting yourself out there behind the same line that had you running for your life 3 of the first 4 snaps before you suffered the injury anyway, week 1 against the Bills. He'll be 40 on December 2nd. Why? With that quality of protection, and I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And if it is collective, if it isn't just Zach Wilson, then it is an indictment of the entire operation, including the line. Why in the world, if you're Aaron Rodgers, do you even want to go out there? What's the risk? What's the reward? And a lot of it, and again, this is a point that we made yesterday, but you didn't have a chance to chime in on it, so I'm going to make it again. I think a lot of it comes down to what happened Sunday night. And I'm not just saying that to sell the veal. Sunday night, Jets at Raiders. The Jets lose that game, and then they got the Bills and Dolphins coming up. If they fall to 4-7 as of that Black Friday game that ends their November run, there's no point for Aaron Rodgers to play.
No.
There's no point. So if they lose Sunday night, I think we just forget about all this. Unless they somehow win one of the next 2 or both of the next 2 after that, we just forget about this whole Aaron Rodgers thing because there's no reason to go out there. And even if they're competitive, if they somehow win 2 of the next 3, why do you want to go out there behind that line and get yourself injured again and spend your offseason rehabbing another injury?
No, I think that is the question. Relevancy and where they are as a football team as we continue to go through the season, I think is going to be a big thing that's going to dictate whether Rodgers comes back or not. I mean, you're saying it, right? If they're 4-7, or starting to, slowly eke their way out of the playoff picture, there's no way Rodgers isn't going to come back for meaningless footballs at the end of the football games at the end of the year. For what reason? It's not going to do him any good. It's really not going to do the Jets any good if he gets re-injured, anything like that. I mean, I think even if it's like, wait, the team's not playing well, right? And, okay, they're kind of hanging around a little bit, but still not in the playoff, like not in the top 7. I don't even know if that'll warrant him coming back. I look at it almost like, hey, they win the last 2, they're in. Maybe that's when you see him come back or something like that. They win 2 out of the last 3. Right, but I think your point's real. I think we heard Troy Aikman say that on Monday night. I hear a lot of people say it who watch the Jets on film or have a good feel for what they are. They look at it and go, I don't care who you put at quarterback. It's not going to look that much better. All right, I know it'll look better with Rodgers compared to Zach Wilson, but I don't think it's going to be like, they're 7-1 or 6-2 because they had Rodgers. Absolutely not. Maybe they're 5-3. Maybe they won that Patriots football game that they, could have won early in the year. Maybe that. But I don't think it would have been a big drastic difference, and I think they still would have been struggling on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line. And reality kind of sets in for the Jets after losing that game on Monday night. It sets in for me because I'm always rooting for a good story. And the Jets maintaining relevance without Aaron Rodgers is a hell of a story because it lays the foundation for the even better story of Rodgers riding in on the white horse to save the day at some point in the month of December. We had dropped that little item on the way out on Monday that there was a thought in the building he's going to want to practice in a couple of weeks. That was as of this past weekend. And then we get to the exchange that we saw after the game on Monday night when he goes out to the middle of the field. Chargers safety Derwin James says, "When are you coming back?" And he says, "Give me a few weeks." There it is right there. "Give me a few weeks" is what he says. And I knew where this was going. And again, hey, Aaron Rodgers wearing the awesome salute to service hoodie. How can I say something bad about Aaron Rodgers when he's wearing that awesome hoodie? But I'm not saying something bad. I'm just saying something realistic. And I've changed my thinking on Aaron Rodgers in some ways. But I still think he's got that impish quality of light the fuse and complain when the bomb goes off. He likes to light the fuse, but then when the fuse hits the bomb and it explodes, well, no. You're all making a big deal out of nothing. It's like, no, you lit the fuse and you ran away, and the fuse did what fuses do, and the bomb went off as bombs do. Don't complain now because you lit the fuse, buddy. So tell me this, Dr. Simms.
Yeah.
Based upon your film study,
Right.
What is your diagnosis as it relates to the current problems with the New York Jets' crappy offense?
Well, we didn't get to hit on this because we kind of started hitting on Rodgers, right? But the thing I would first off is go, a quarterback change to Trevor Siemian or Tim Boyle is not going to fix the issue. I mean, not at all. Absolutely not. And you've won some games with Zach Wilson, and he's taken care of the football, right? And at least not hurt them for the most part in some of these games. You know, even the other night, didn't throw an interception. Yeah, he got strip sacked twice, but I mean, we were all watching the game. I mean, the pocket was collapsing in a hurry. Their offensive line stinks, right? Then you add on top of that they only have one receiver that really separates or scares you. And, you know, guys like Allen Lazard and the rest of the group, they're certainly not winning one-on-one matchups on a consistent basis. The run game is spotty. We know that too. I mean, yeah, you give Breece Hall a crease, watch out, but the creases are few and far between in their offense. And then, of course, I don't think the offense can be maybe as complicated or as creative as it ultimately can be because it's Zach Wilson still learning a new system, and this is not the system the Jets wanted to run, and they were dependent on Aaron Rodgers doing things at the line of scrimmage and people being able to digest that. So I think when you couple all that together, you know, those are their issues, and I don't think a quarterback change, you know, to those two guys especially is going to make anything different or better. I think it actually will only make it more dysfunctional and worse, really.
How much of the blame goes to the offensive coordinator for not properly adjusting the offense to Zach Wilson instead of making Zach Wilson adjust to the offense and waiting for him to get to the point where he has his eureka moment and he understands it? How much do we put on Hackett when, you know, I think about what happened on Sunday in Minnesota where Kevin O'Connell finds a way to make it work with Josh Dobbs, who just showed up. At what point is Hackett responsible for not changing everything and saying, okay, I know they brought me here to run the offense that we know works with Aaron Rodgers. We got to make something work with Zach Wilson. We got to tear things up. We got to draw up plays. We got to come up with different concepts. I got to talk to him. I got to watch his film from BYU. I got to do something to come up with an offense that fits this guy instead of waiting around for 1, 2, 3 months to go by and he suddenly fits this offense.
Yeah, well, one, Nathaniel Hackett, listen, Kevin O'Connell's special in my opinion. And, you know, he's got an O-line that can really pass protect. And I would still say, even without Justin Jefferson, they have better weapons than the New York Jets do at receiver. Yes, with Jordan Addison and Powell and Hawkinson, I still would take them over what the Jets have. So, you know, that's the thing. I do think Nathaniel Hackett has changed things on offense. He's tried to formulate around Zach Wilson. It's just hard to see the results because they can't run the ball consistently. And even like I've showed clips on my Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast where they keep extra people into block and they still can't block and do it and get it done. So it goes beyond Hackett's ability to manage the game here because there's too many issues with the offensive talent, with the O-line being banged up and not being at its fullest. And then you couple that with, like we said, there's only one guy out there that really scares you. And this is where it stinks to go all in on Rodgers because they got Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb, not because they're scary, but because they'll be able to digest all the checks and be in the right spot for Rodgers when he checks to the right play. And so that's not helping Zach Wilson or the offense in this situation. Hackett's offense has all the answers. Is it Shanahan? Is it Mike McDaniel? Is it O'Connell? No. But there's everything there to be had. There is. It's just with the Rodgers thing and the talent around it and the situation, I think that all is adding to this kind of horrible look they got on the offensive side of the ball right now.
Do you think they would have hired Hackett if they didn't believe they were getting Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think I don't know if they would have. No, I'm not gonna. No, that's a tough one there. I think Hackett was worthy of being an offensive coordinator for sure. But do I know? No. I always kind of felt like that move was made to get Aaron Rodgers to come to town and change the football team. And I don't say that as an indictment on Nathaniel Hackett. But, yeah, in my heart of hearts, I think that move was made to, persuade Rodgers for sure.
And you mentioned Allen Lazard. That was part of the plan as well. Part of the Rodgers is going to be here. Let's make sure he's got friends and former teammates from Green Bay. Randall Cobb, Allen Lazard. I'm surprised they didn't bring in Mercedes Lewis, quite frankly.
Well, right. And, Mike, to that point
Robert Tonyan, Bobby.
Yeah, well, they got, Bobby Turner, or Turner, one of the offensive linemen he had there in Green Bay with him for a little while. Yeah, sorry, Billy Turney.
Billy Baru.
And then Lazard, listen.
Do you know what Billy Baru is? Do you know what Billy Baru is?
No.
I just got to stop everything and ask you if you know what Billy Baru is.
I know that name. What is it? What is Billy Baru? Go ahead now. You can't stop me.
Billy Baru. Billy Baru is the name of Judge Smail's putter from Caddyshack.
Oh, yeah, I would have never come up with that.
I don't know why. I don't know why I remember that.
I don't know why you're either.
But... Oh, Billy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Billy. That's what he says after he makes them.
Right. But wait. Right. So back to Lazard, though, right? Because you bring up something there that's part of this problem, too. Lazard's a good player. There's no doubt, right? Solid. I like Lazard. I like a lot of the things he does. But he's a number 3 or a number 4 for most teams in football, okay? Now, he is right now the number 2 for the Jets, and we're seeing, and you kind of heard Troy Aikman allude to it on Monday night, there ain't a lot of production there. Separation, and then you're adding in drop problems to the equation as well. But this Allen Lazard was the number 3 last year on the Packers with 2 rookie receivers, right? So, yes, for most normal receiving cores, he would definitely be a 3. Of the top-notch ones or the better receiving cores in football, he would be a 4. And they're having to use him as the number 2, and that, of course, is part of the problem here. And, yeah, they're limited as far as the weapons and things that scare you on the offensive side of the ball, and then you couple that with a crappy O-line. It's hard. I don't care who's the offensive coordinator or quarterback. It's going to be hard to make that group and formula look the right way.
And, well, the Jets have issues. The Jets have a huge game on Sunday night because if they lose that one, I think it takes most of the air out of the balloon. There isn't a whole lot of air left in the balloon after Monday night. There won't be much air remaining. It's going to be like, it's just like that. It's just that tiny little puff that it's just going to be kind of like, when the balloon, when it's just kind of, that's what's going to be there after Sunday night. Oh, and by the way, they're 1 week away from their very early season ticket renewal deadline. Very, very early, November 15. So would kind of be nice to get a win in Las Vegas over the Raiders before people have to commit their thousands of dollars to renewing their season tickets for 2024 with no clear guarantee that Aaron Rodgers will be back next year. We think it's moving in that direction. He's never said clearly yes. He's never said maybe no. If I had to guess, I'd say yes. But I don't necessarily want to bet a couple of grand of my take-home pay on Rodgers coming back when the alternative is what? Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.